Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining this session, listening to the title Scarcity in IT Talent is Not Needed when we look at talent differently. My name is Ruben Nieuwenhuis. I'm from Amsterdam, traveling the world, not in these COVID days, but I'm originally from the startup and tech sector. I was former CEO of Startup Amsterdam, a program to empower and strengthen the startup ecosystem. And the last 3 years, I'm active in bringing diversity into the IT landscape and to bring inclusion into our ecosystem. And we came up with this vision like, everyone is saying we lack talent, we lack IT talent. I think it's not only an Amsterdam metropolitan region question or challenge, but I see that, in cities and regions around the world that IT talent and scarcity, that it's one of the topics. And we are running now this program for the last 3 years and proving that when we look at talent differently, there is an abundance of talent, and then we don't need to have all those vacancies being available. And then you see also diversity flowing into the IT teams and inclusion growing. So I will present our vision, but also how are we making this difference? How with over 100 partners like tech companies like Zoom and LinkedIn, Salesforce, AWS, but also corporate partners like Rabobank, like Heineken, like the Postal Service in the Netherlands, like all kinds of organizations that join our challenge, join our vision and our ambition. And what we said 3 years ago, we said, hey, we see two challenges. We see scarcity in IT on one hand, and we see a lack of diversity. So how can we activate underrepresented groups for these jobs, for these new jobs? How can we scale them? How can we rescale them towards these jobs of opportunity? And this was the starting point. And we saw all kinds of articles on scarcity. We saw the need for growth hackers, for data analysts, for coders, for tech support, and so on and so forth. And we saw we need more women because it's a male-dominated space. We need people from all cultural backgrounds. We need people from all ages. We need also more people in specific sectors like small, medium enterprises. They lack these people with IT skills. So we read it in the news and we said, okay, this is the scope. We focus on the IT jobs. And we focus on these underrepresented groups. And that was the problem. Like, I am 48 years old, white, so I'm not the target audience. I'm not the target group. And we needed to learn what is the problem, where is the mismatch coming from, where is the gap coming from. And we then started to run tens of experiments to really figure out, to understand what are obstacles that these underrepresented groups are not being activated. And one of the obstacles that we saw is the lack of distribution, how we say it. We say, hey, there are no role models in deprived areas, no role models of talent that are working in an IT job. And when you don't have a role model, you don't educate yourself in that direction. So we need to build role models in all kinds of communities, all kinds of areas. That is one of the obstacles that we saw. A second thing that we saw is that many people lack self-confidence from all ages, all backgrounds in, hey, I am a person, I'm a talent with the potential to become a coder, with the potential to become a growth hacker. So what we did is to help them overcome that obstacle to become more self-confident in providing them with insight in what is needed and what skills they already have when it comes to stepping into a new career. What we also saw is that there's a lack of a lot of preconditions. I'll give you an example. When you are, let's say, divorced, the woman or a man, and you lack, for instance, means, financial resources to reskill yourself towards a new job, that is a problem. So we said, hey, we need to bring financial resources to the people to reskill themselves. And another thing is that we see a lot of learning platforms. We saw a lot of people starting with reskilling themselves, but they lacked discipline, because at the end of the day, there are MOOCs out there. There are, the Coursera and the Udemy and all kinds of learning platforms where you can get your certificates, where you can educate yourself or self-educate yourself in becoming a coder. But most of us don't have the discipline, so they need peers. They need a peer learner environment. So these experiments brought us to all the obstacles. And then we said, okay, then what is the ambition? Because we need to have a bold, big statement. And we said, okay, we will educate 50,000 people and activate them into IT jobs and IT educational settings. And we start small. We're going to experiment, and then we will scale. Once we find keys in order to reach people, to educate them, and to have employers adopting them as an employer. So here you see our goal, our ambition, 50K in 4 years. And with that, we really will have a diverse talent pool, but also we will have no scarcity whatsoever. So let me give you, because we did a lot of experiments, let me give you one example. You see in the middle, you see Ajax, our, one of the Dutch teams in soccer. And we went to the arena, which is the stadium, and we brought students there. We said, okay, we will show you the IT jobs that are happening within the Johan Cruyff arena. And one of the jobs is being data analyst of the football club, soccer club, Ajax. And then we brought these students to the control room, and we said, hey, these are the IT jobs running the control room within, the stadium. And then we brought them to the arena, to the arena. We said, hey, here we will explain you what IT jobs make sure that the grass is, worked out well, that, the people see the scoreboard working, and so on and so forth. So what we actually did, we brought IT jobs close by young people in order for them to see what kinds of IT jobs are there and what are the potential. This is one of the experiences. We did many experiences which led to the following concrete initiatives that now are taking off in rapid pace in the Netherlands and in the region of Amsterdam. The first one is a platform that we named Techy Warden. In English, this is becoming a techie. Because what we saw is that in each and every region, a lot of initiatives are there to bring people into digital skills, to bring them into coding, but they lack to showcase jobs in IT. They lack to show what are soft skills, what are the needed soft skills, what are the IT trajectories. So with Techy Warden, there is this platform. You can go on the internet and you can find all information about profiles. And here you see a massive overview of all the educational schools and educational organizations that educate people in becoming a coder, a growth hacker, and so on. So what we did is a search and filter functionality, that when you say, hey, I am of college level, I have an X year of experience, or I'm interested in the creative part, then it will filter the IT studies that you can apply for. This is one of the initiatives, and with Techy Warden, we are bringing IT jobs closer to not only people that want to re-skill themselves, but also parents that are advising their sons and daughters in what to become, what is the career path, but also job hunters and job coaches in explaining them, educate them in how IT jobs might be an opportunity as well. The second initiative that we implemented with Tech Connect is Techgrounds. And these are IT academies in the middle of deprived areas, in the middle of communities that are multicultural. And there we work together with Salesforce, we work together with AWS, we work together with all kinds of tech companies, and we educate these people within 4 or 6 months and bringing them into a new job as front-end developer or back-end developer or Salesforce developer or cloud engineer. And for the students, this is free. So it's like there are no preconditions, there are no pre-education needed, there are no costs involved. And the employers pay these our students €4,500 once they are being employed. This is the placement fee. So the business model is quite simple. It's free for the learner. The employer will get this amazing talent being educated and needs to pay €4,500. And we also collaborate there with Randstad in order to make it work, the first 6 months. So this is Techgrounds. This is based on an initiative we saw in Brussels, Molengeek, also in the middle of a deprived area. And we saw that happening. And then we said, hey, let's bring it towards the Netherlands. And now we have 4 locations. We have 2 in Amsterdam, 1 in Zaanstad, 1 in Rotterdam. We are growing Techgrounds throughout the Netherlands, and we're scaling up internationally. And what we really do is we connect the demand in the market space, the IT demand of employers, and we connect it with students. And we do that with having them involve the employers already during the education. Then they hire based on being connected with our students, and then they are also a part of the soft landing period. So this is one example. You see all kinds of exposure here, and it is building momentum and it's building a movement. So a third initiative I think is worth mentioning. It's what we call TechmeUp. It's an educational fund to provide people with no financial resources with the resources to educate themselves. So they can then pay for certificates. They can also pay the educational institute or the private academy, or when an education is free, like Techgrounds is free, but then sometimes you need budget to live. And with TechmeUp, it's a debt-free fund. It's already €500,000 is contributed into the fund. And we have a lot of learners now from our private academies that have a small loan like 5K or 10K or 2K in order to provide themselves with reskilling themselves into a new career job. This is a foundation. There is no profit approach here, and TechmeUp will scale throughout the Netherlands, and we will go from €500,000 as a budget to more than 2 million in the nearby future. A last example, a last initiative that I want to share with you is Teach for Amsterdam, because we lacked IT teachers within our universities, but also within our colleges. And what we said, hey, how can we have hybrid teachers? So how can we have IT talent or IT experts being available to educate our young people? And Teach for Amsterdam is a program where an IT expert part-time, 1 day a week, 2 days a week, can educate, can become a teacher, and the other 3 days or 4 days, he is, the IT expert within an organization. We saw that in the US, a similar program, and we implemented that into the Netherlands. To wrap it up, and there are some details how we work on this model. I will not go in depth. I will wrap up with coming back to the vision. We think with now over 100 partners that scarcity in IT talent is really not needed anymore when we look differently to talent. When we are involved earlier with the talent, already during the education, that employers play a role via career workshops or in whatever ways in creating better curriculum within the educational system. The moment you hire the person, not on a profile or a CV, but from out of a real connection based on portfolio, and then also being a partner in the first 6 months or 12 months to provide them with a soft landing. If we as ecosystem, if we as employers work together and we look differently to talent, we are sure that the scarcity in IT talent will be gone. We are sure that there will be abundance and that it will lead to equality of opportunity and diversity in IT teams. And we are welcoming you to Amsterdam to send emails to learn about all the initiatives, because we are open to share our playbooks, our learnings, our approach, and to learn from examples around the world that we can implement here in the Amsterdam metropolitan region. Thank you so much for listening, and looking forward to the Q&A.
Great, and I'm joined by Ruben from the Netherlands again, and we've been to Toronto, we've been to the Netherlands, we've been all over the Netherlands today, so it's amazing, and we're going to go to Oxford next. So could you just tell me about some real-world applications of the technology you're using and some of the customers and how things are operating now, or I guess now in the new pandemic and in the future, and then we can talk about what happens next with your product.
Yeah. So, our product is all about human beings. It's about reskilling people towards a job in IT. In a way, it's a human capital, activating a new human capital. But there's also technology involved, as we have Salesforce as a platform underlying to activate people into IT jobs, to educate people into IT jobs, and to have employers connect with potential hidden talents. And when it comes to employers that are involved, is our postal service, for instance, the big banks like Rabobank, ABN AMRO, but also Media Monks, one of the big employers, but also partners such as LinkedIn and Zoom and Salesforce and AWS. So we have over 100 partners involved to make this work and to educate and activate these people into IT jobs.
And as it's the Northern Lands, what are your plans to expand into the UK?
So what we do or what we see happening is a global, let's say, challenge. We have a lack of IT talent, and we have a lot of people being unemployed, especially due to COVID. So first of all, we are building this scalable, repeatable platform to grow internationally. And that might, at the end of the day, grow into Germany, Belgium, but also into UK and other places. But what I think is even more important is not so much that our platform will grow into all these countries and cities. That will happen. We will see how fast and how that will grow. But what I want to happen is that the thinking behind the type of partnerships that will be adopted globally. So when we said we are going to build Amsterdam metropolitan region as the most inclusive and diverse tech hub there is globally, we said not only that as an ambition, but also we said we want to share our learnings and to showcase that can happen everywhere. So we are bringing our learnings, our playbooks to whomever is listening. And then last thing to say here, Paul, is that we see already similar programs happening in the UK. Like the AWS program is happening in the UK when it comes to Restart. We see Salesforce also working together locally with activating underrepresented groups like women, people with all cultural backgrounds, all ages into IT jobs. So in a way, we see it already happening, but also we want to scale our social enterprise internationally.
Fantastic. That's great to hear. And a business and organization that wants to be radically open like ours is is something that we can absolutely get on board with. So I guess people need to look out and watch your development as we go. And just give us a few words before we go to our final talk about what you think the future is, particularly with the pandemic, about platforms like yours and how they might develop.
Yeah, so I think that everyone should, whatever age, whatever generation, should step into a meta skill, and the meta skill is learning to learn. Like, I think it's all about self-directed and peer learning. So that is one of the things that we have to educate ourselves in. And then secondly, I think, looking into the future is overrated. I think we should go via tomorrow. A lot of people are thinking about jobs in the future, see all these reports, but learning is doing, or learning by doing, and that will happen today and tomorrow. So I see that people that will go via tomorrow into the future, those are the people that are going to be successfully, let's say, going international or staying relevant. People that think about the future and talk about the future will stay talkers instead of doers.
Amen. So we have a saying here at ODI Leeds, which is to kill all reports, and doing things tomorrow is definitely what we're all about. So thanks, Ruben. That was a fantastic finish. Thanks for joining us today. It's been great, and hopefully we'll be able to see you in person at Northernlands 4.